Good afternoon. My name's Pete Hegseth. I'm running for the U.S. Senate, and I'm seeking your Republican endorsement. I've been in the race since March 1st because I just got back from Afghanistan on a tour with the U.S. Army. I've done 3 tours since 9/11. Before that, I did a tour in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, and also was an infantry platoon leader in Iraq with the 101st Airborne. Today, I grew up in Forest Lake. I went to Forest Lake High School. I live in Stillwater today. My wife and son Gunnar are in the back somewhere. And we've got another one on the way in August. And I'll tell you, becoming a father and going to war have taught me many things. But amongst them, that time is precious. And that what we have in this country is worth fighting for. Absolutely. Absolutely. America is the greatest country the world has ever known. But that is not inevitable and cannot be taken for granted. Every generation has to stand up and do their part. That's why you're doing what you're doing. That's why I'm running. You know, I don't have to tell you, these are times of great consequence. Difficult times for our country. Ronald Reagan in 1964 talked about a time for choosing. 2012 is our time for choosing. We can either choose a path of more government and more debt, more regulation, or we can choose a path of limited government, individual responsibility, the free enterprise system, a return to our Constitution, and a strong national defense. We can return to that, or we can head in the other direction, because we know where Senator Amy Klobuchar is taking us in this race. I wouldn't be running if we were represented well right now. And we're represented by someone who the population has a warm fuzzy about, but they don't know how she votes. You know how she votes. 95% of the time with Barack Obama and Al Franken. And we're gonna win this race by reminding Minnesotans how she actually votes. But I'm running because we need a bold path in a new direction, a new leadership. Fresh blood to mix it up and throw down the gauntlet where we need to. This is not about me. This is not about Pete Hegseth. This is about our shared values, our shared conservative Republican values. We know that politicians don't create jobs. Small business owners create jobs. It's a men and women who have an idea, they've got a skill, they take a risk, and they step out and put their own money on the line. And they employ people in their communities. And it's the job of an elected official to get the heck out of the way, to lessen the regulatory burden, to simplify the tax code, and to provide predictability for those businesses so they can step out and hire more workers. That's how we create jobs. That's how we grow the economy. We know that our debt and deficit spending is unsustainable. We are spending ourselves off of a fiscal cliff because we haven't had the discipline to stand up in Washington. We've had Republicans who talk like fiscal conservatives on the trail, and then they go to Washington and vote like Democrats. We can't tolerate that any longer. And we know, absolutely. We know as Republicans that the role of the federal government in the Constitution is limited and enumerated. And everything else is left to the states and the people. We also know that the peace we have in this country comes through strength. Something very personal to me, having done 3 tours, served with a lot of guys and gals overseas. But we also need to remember every day that we can never, ever cede our sovereignty to international organizations like the UN or the International Criminal Court. I've never run for office before, but I've held politicians accountable before. I led a nationwide veterans organization, a nonprofit called Vets for Freedom. When I took it over in 2007, there were only a couple thousand members. The organization was $15,000 in debt, and I was handed the passwords to the website, and they told me good luck. And in a year and a half, we took it to an organization of 95,000 members. We had 50 state chapters, the strongest of which was right here in Minnesota. And we've raised $8.5 million to take on then Senator Obama and his liberal agenda. And we did it to give voice to the soldier on the ground, to beat back the mainstream media's narrative of failure. Because I don't know if you got the memo, but the New York Times isn't always right about what it reports. And that was our job to fight back against that. We also, in 2010, helped elect 6 conservative Republican veterans to Congress, one of which was Alan West down in Florida. So I've run an organization, built it, the kind of organization we're going to need statewide in Minnesota. I've raised the money before. We raised $8.5 million, as I said. We raised $160,000 in the first month, exponentially raising any other of the Republican candidates in this race. And we're going to take the message that we need to bring forth as conservatives in order to win the race. We are going to stand and fight. We will stand and fight. We will not fiddle while Rome burns. Now is our time. Now is our time to choose. And we need a candidate that can beat Amy Klobuchar. I know I can do that. I need your help. Go to PeteForSenate.com and join us. Thank you.
No, I agree. As you said, we need to burn down.